So, my daughter typically carries this EpiPen with her.
Feng Nguyen's daughter has a peanut allergy, and with her potentially life-saving EpiPen on the verge of expiring, her mother needed to find another.
Took 5 pharmacies to call between me and my husband until we finally found one.
During the past year, there have been shortages of EpiPens.
Now that you've been prescribed EpiPen,
previous supply issues were blamed on a lack of medication, but this time it's related to the auto-injector. In a statement, Pfizer, the maker of EpiPen, says that stock that was scheduled to be shipped in early August is currently being inspected, which has caused a delay. With the next shipment not expected until the end of August, pharmacists are urging people not to stockpile them and keep them around even if they have expired.
It's not recommended to use after the expiry date, but if you have no choice, you're better off injecting something that actually that you have rather than not injecting anything at all.
And if someone can't get their hands on an EpiPen, they could learn to fill up a syringe.
The pharmacist will teach the patient or caregiver how to draw up the medication themselves. And then the other option will be the pharmacist will be able to draw up that medication for them to take home and use in case of emergency.
There are questions about why there aren't other options for auto-injectables in Canada.
Press Emerade against the thigh and hold for 5 seconds.
Alternatives exist. 4 of them are even approved for use here, but they're not yet for sale.
We're trying to encourage them to bring those products to Canada and to distribute them so that people have access to those medications as well.
One of the companies we spoke to said it's working to bring its product to Canada because people depend on these devices.
It's not like a Tylenol that you can take to treat a headache, right? So when you need an EpiPen, you need an EpiPen.
And not having one could be a matter of life and death. Briar Stewart, CBC News, Vancouver.
Now, for more on this, I'm joined by Dr. Mark Greenwald, an allergist who practices in Toronto. And Dr. Greenwald, I'm curious, are there other reasons for the shortage beyond the fact that this country relies on just a single supplier?
I think, yes, at the way we manage it in medicine and at the institutional level, we require every child in school, for example, who has potential for a bad reaction to have one injector on themselves, another one in the office, when in fact the school could have a few on hand and each individual can have their own personal one, and this would cut down on a tremendous number of extra, not utilized, easily expiring EpiPens.
And so, I suppose the question many parents are asking themselves right now is if they don't have an EpiPen that is up to date and they have one that's expired, is that always a better alternative than using no EpiPen at all?
Absolutely. The choice is between the potentially fatal reaction and giving what you've got. And what you've got is preferable to be fresh and active and good, but if you don't and it's expired, it is no doubt still has potential life-saving medicine in it still.
And this is no matter the expiry date?
It hasn't been studied extensively, but some of the studies that have shown it does go months and years beyond when it's dated.
And one more question for you. A junior EpiPen, if you have one around, is that also better than nothing?
Absolutely. Both of those doses, junior and adult, are minimal doses. That'll be a little bit less, so try 2.
Dr. Greenwald, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
So some good advice for all those people who have allergic reactions. And at this time of year in particular, consider this. 1% of all emergency department visits are for allergic reactions. That's more than 171,000 visits across the country, some involving life-threatening allergies. About 1/3 of those patients are children, and most visits happen in the summer when bug bites are more common.